Happy Sunday, Patreon family. As I promised, I've got my video, and today we're going to talk about lunar alignment and how I work with the moon. So, I have like a gang of notes that I took here. So, I'm looking down. That's because I want to make sure that I cover everything and I don't miss out on stuff. Thank you so much for coming to my YouTube channel. Thank you for being a member of my Patreon. Your support means everything. This is going to seem like a small number to some of you bigger folks, but I have 10 subscribers. I am officially in the double digits on my YouTube. I hope some of my YouTube family makes their way over to Patreon, but the support is just a blessing either way, and I'm really, really excited to share with you. So let's get into it. All right, so the moon. So the moon has been incorporated, whether it's through worship, veneration, general partnership, through variety of cultures for as long as the moon has been in existence. Initially, before electricity, we only had two lights in the sky, other than like stars, which aren't really light. We had the sun and we had the moon. So the sun represents our ego, it's divine masculine, it's father energy, it's our outward persona, it's about drive, it's about fire, your gut instinct, your primal instincts. Whereas your moon is your inside, your inner self. It's emotions, it's intuition. This is the divine feminine. The sun is divine masculine, the moon is divine feminine. They are the father and the mother energy up in the sky. Creativity, emotions, water, family, home. The moon rules your fourth house in your natal chart, so that's home, family, ancestry, past lives. Your relationship, your mother. So how your moon sign would be how you perceive your mother and how you are as a mother. Not necessarily how your children perceive you, but how you perceive yourself as a mother. Food, because it's about nurturing. So food is nurturing your health. So how you take care of yourself and delving deep within. So the moon moves fast. It's like it's going through all the signs, just fast, fast, fast. And it's going through various phases. So for me, that feels like a reminder from source to say, hey, this is happening now, but it's not going to last for long. It's really just a phase. So now that we're talking about phases, let's talk about the phases of the moon. So we're going to start from the beginning to if this cycle starts over again. So we have the new moon. So we just had a new moon. New moon is all about beginning. So when their new moon is out, you can't really see it because the sunlight hasn't started hitting it just yet. So it's about newness, it's about beginnings, a new phase, a new start, a new chapter. A lot of people like to manifest with the new moon. It's about setting new goals. What do you want to accomplish with this next lunar cycle? So then we have the waxing crescent, which is my moon because I was born under a waxing crescent. So this moon is when it's just starting to become, so that's a sliver of the moon. It's just starting to become visible. And this is a time where you can see you've got your goals, you know what you want to accomplish. This is a time where you can actually see what it's going to take to bring those things to fruition. So this is actually a great time to start working on manifesting. This is like, I know what I want. This is what this looks like. You can visualize it, you can see it. And that's what you need when you're, for those of you that do law of attraction or scripting or manifesting and praying, whatever, all of it's the same, it's the same energy. You're asking the universe, the source, the creator, your guides, whomever, your ancestors, to help you bring this thing from in here to whatever other plane you're experiencing it to this plane of existence where you can experience it here. The first quarter moon, which is when I was a kid, we called it a half moon. That's when the moon is more visible. So this is a time where it's more illuminated. So those goals and the way you see those goals, it's time to start putting those plans into action because there's a lot more energy available because the moon is more illuminated by the sun's light. So if you think about from a creation aspect, you need the both divine masculine and divine feminine to truly create. So that's why when the moon is illuminated, it's the best time to manifest because that's when that creative energy is actually most present. You have the idea, which is the intuition, the internal, and the action, which is the fire, the external. And when those two things come together, that's when it gives it idea that go. You think about a train goes off steam. What do you need for steam? Water and fire. So this is a good time to trust your gut instincts. It can also be emotionally a slightly stressful time because again, the moon rules emotion. It's a little bit more, a lot more illuminated. So those feelings could start running high and it could be a really stressful time. So just be mindful of how you're feeling. Then we have the waxing gibbous, and this is a time where you're looking at your progress. So you started putting your plans into action. You know what it's going to look like at the end. So now you're checking your progress. How is things going? How does this look? Make adjustments as you need to, and just continue to stay focused. This is also again high energy time where you can easily be distracted. So just make sure that you're not distracted. Um, and there's just more light to really see things with the wax and gibbous. So now you've got your full moon. The moon is completely illuminated. You can see everything. Everything is visible. This is a time to take stock of what you've accomplished during this last lunar cycle. What went well? What didn't go so well? What served you? What no longer served you? This is a time to really kind of take a look at everything and because it's all clear. It's all visible. Evaluate your goals and relationships. This is a time because it's high emotion, high lunar energy, that you're looking at the relationships, whether that's business, personal, friends, family. You're looking at those relationships and looking to see what needs to be changed, what needs to be released, what needs to be let go. This is definitely a good time to socialize. The moon is fully illuminated. You can see everybody. So it's almost like you're seeing everybody as they truly are. So it's a good time to socialize with people. And just be mindful again of your energy because it's going to be high. And so your emotions could be running high. So now that you've gone through this lunar cycle and now the energy of the moon is starting to wane. So this is the waning cycle. So first we have the disseminating moon. So this is when the moon is first starting to lose some of its brightness. So that energy, that high emotional energy is lessening because there's less light. So you want to take a moment to kind of process where things are, what came to light. You might actually feel more creative during this time and have an urge to revisit some old projects. So that's you're evaluating where things are, what things you've worked on, and now taking the opportunity to possibly touch on some things that you haven't touched on in a while. Um, the last quarter moon. So this is another time to to continue to take stock of your life. So the energy is half gone. It's a really busy time. You want to make space to relax because it's so busy. Don't get so caught up where you're exhausting yourself. Take some time, listen to yourself, and make space to relax. Some things from the past, like people, may come forward. So that's not uncommon during this time. Because if you think about it, the moon is about delving deep. It's about your past life, so past people may come forward. The balsamic moon. So this is right before the new moon energy. So this is a really good time before you set your goals to really take time and just be quiet, go within, and just reflect. Great time to meditate. There's not much light from the moon. Um, Enjoy being with your family. Acknowledge everything that you've gone through these last lunar cycle, and it's a great time for release, a great time for a spiritual bath. That will help cleanse your spirit so that when you're going in to set those new goals, anything that doesn't serve you any longer, you've kind of like cleansed all that old stagnant energy off of you so that your mind and your spirit is fresh from when you get ready to start the cycle all over again with the new moon. So Other than the moon phases, we know that the moon is traveling through different zodiac signs and different houses in your natal chart. So one thing you also want to take stock of is when the moon is void. So the void, of course, is a period where you think about the moon is traveling and it's like making all these aspects and it's hitting all these angles, and now it's at the end before it gets to another sign. So before it moves to that other sign, it's like I'm done. I've done all I'm supposed to do. I'm about to take a break. I'm about to chill out. Deuces. So when this is in the case where the moon is no longer, she needs a rest. You know, she's the mother. Mother's doing a lot. She's got a lot of kids she's taking care of. This is her time to just chill out and not do anything. So without her lunar energy to give light to what we're trying to do, it's not a good time to start anything new. All the things that you do normally, your normal day to day activities, interactions, all those things are fine. But you don't want to start something new while the moon is void. So it's because it's an energetic lunar break. And it's just not a good time to anything. When you look at it, it'll say that even on the Moonology cards, actually, I'll show it to you. Okay, thanks for waiting. So this is the void, of course, card. So nothing will come of this situation. And that's the energy of the void moon, is that nothing's happening with the moon. So if you're starting something new, nothing's gonna come of this. I looked at today, the moon goes void at 5:33 Eastern time. I'm sorry, 5:42. Looking at the wrong week. 5:42 Eastern time. It goes void, and it won't be out of the void until 12:43 a.m. when the moon changes signs again. So instead of me looking at posting later this evening, I'm going to get this done as early as possible so that it has the best energy and the best results. I hope that makes sense. Um, Things that I do with the moon is, one, look at the sign the moon is in to see what energies are working with your emotions. Is the moon in Cancer? So I'm going to be real emotional. Or is it in Aquarius? Might be a little bit more aloof than normal. What house is the moon in? Because that will be an area of focus. And I'll talk about kind of what that looks like for me in a little bit. Also taking a look at if there's going to be an eclipse. So eclipses are when the sun, moon, and earth are in alignment. So anytime there's planets, celestial bodies, and they're all lined up, that's amplifying the energy of everything that's in line. So the eclipse energy is an amplification of the energy of the moon when those things are, when they're in alignment in that fashion. Depending on whether it's a solar or lunar eclipse, what kind of energy is amplified. They do usually happen in pairs, but that's not always the case. And it's some of the most potent energy of the year. It's evasive, it's changing, it's challenging, it's unpredictable. So a lot of people don't say not to manifest with an eclipse because you don't really know what the energy is doing during that time. You kind of just want to be flexible, not have any hard and fast plans during an eclipse if possible, so that you have an opportunity to kind of like flow where the moon is asking you to flow during that time. Sometimes eclipses can bring about fated events. So if something happens during an eclipse, a lot of times that's supposed to be like a divine thing. It's supposed to be fated. So we have the solar eclipse. And the solar eclipse basically means that the moon is between the sun and the earth. And these happen during the full moon. And so if you want to think about a solar eclipse as being like a full moon on steroids, whatever the full moon, that urge to release, let go, shed off, you want to have it. And I actually even have a card for that one too. So it says conclusions are within reach. So this is a time where if you're trying to let it go, that like you are having a whole frozen moment and you're going to let it go during that solar eclipse. The lunar eclipse is when the earth is between the sun and the moon. So this is the new moon energy on steroids. So this is the time where you're like, I got to do something. You might have really, really restless energy, trying wanting to get things done, set goals, reevaluating things. And again, keep in mind it's unpredictable depending on what kind of moon phase you were born under, what your zodiac sign is, where the moon is placed at the time, how that energy is going to impact you, if it impacts you at all. So, like for example, Leos, they are ruled by the sun. So they feel the energy more profoundly when it's a solar and a new moon. Whereas Cancers feel lunar eclipses more profoundly because it's a full moon energy and they're ruled by the moon. So in a tropical astrology, I am a Cancer rising. In sidereal, my Cancer rules my second house. So I have a lot of moon like my natal chart, the moon aspects everything. Oh my gosh. So anything going on with the moon, I kind of feel it in a different way because the moon has my chart, both tropical sidereal, the moon has a lot going on aspecting everybody. So some things that I do is one is I check my moon book. So I do have a book about the moon. Hold on. Okay, so this is my book. It's called Moon Power. So I do check it out to see what's happening with the moon on that day. So let's say tomorrow the moon is in Sagittarius. So if I want to be in rhythm with the moon, this is what I do. So let's say if I want to know how to handle my social life. Well, on Moon and Sagittarius days, I should get together with people who share my enthusiasm, maybe go on a trip that's long distance, meet someone from another culture, eat some food that's exotic, plan a forthcoming holiday or mini break. Don't be honest to the point of bluntness, exaggerate to make a point, insist that others agree with you, take foolish risks, or drive too fast. So tomorrow, if I wanted to do anything that would make the day great on a social aspect, I would do something that involves me learning about somebody else's culture, which is Sagittarius energy. So then I have even managing money. So for managing money, it's a good time to invest in a holiday, buy books and reference material, listen to the opinions of colleagues. So this is money and work. Sagittarius at home is have a great big tidy up, organize your travel memorabilia, go through your books and give away any duplicates, buy an exotic plant, and invite some friends over. So this is how I use this book. It's really great. It's really helped me get more in tune with the moon. And so I'll typically sit and look at what the moon is doing for the next 2 weeks and kind of write down some tips out of the book. I do have a moon calendar that I use to kind of help me out with the moon. And let me see if I can show this to y'all. Hold on. That's my son. So this is my moon calendar. So you can see I have when the void of course is on here, what sign it's going to be in. See, we got the full moon on Halloween. So I have that all on my calendar. Okay. And do this where I don't knock anything down. Yay, I was successful. All right. So, when it's a new moon, I like to think of goals. So like the other day, I wrote down what I wanted, what my goals were. I kind of looked at the house that was impacted and determining kind of where my focus needs to be. And sometimes I do a new moon bath or make some new moon water. Then I have the waxing crescent energy because I was born under a waxing crescent. So I would encourage you to look to see what moon phase you were born under because you probably most impacted. So waxing crescent, while it's in a waxing crescent, that's my moon phase. That's my time to really feel powerful, I was born in manifesting energy. So I try to lean into that energy and do some praying and some scripting. During the full moon, I like to do my release. I'm learning that I should probably do it more with the balsamic moon, um, because balsamic moon is a time for healing. So um, I want to start doing that more with the balsamic moon, but in the meantime, I have been doing some full moon rituals where I do like a release. So I'll write down what I feel like no longer serves me, and I set that joint on fire. And it's quite refreshing to see some of those things go up in flames. And I like to do a spiritual bath and do full moon water and use that water to bathe with or to drink with or to do ritual with until it's time for me to make some more. I definitely, like I said, look for the void, of course, to determine if I'm going to do anything new. So, for example, when the new moon hit at 6:11 that day on the 16th, the moon went void. And so I didn't do anything major in terms of other than charging my crystals. I didn't actually do, and I charge with both the new and the full moon. So they get a double, this month they'll get a triple charge of lunar energy. But I didn't actually do anything in terms of manifesting, writing goals, or anything. I didn't do any of that while the moon was void. I waited until Saturday to work on that. Um, so some other moon energy to look at is the super moon. So super moon is represented by emotions are running high. And if you want to think about it, is the moon is closest to us. So, the moon impacts the water, it impacts the tides, it makes the water, tides are high during a super moon, and we are 75% water. So I always feel like people who feel like, well, we can't be influenced. The moon influences water, period. It doesn't care where the water is, it's just going to impact water. So if we're like water on the inside, why would we feel like we feel nothing regarding the moon? So with a super moon, the moon is the closest point of approach. It looks super big and amplifies the energies and gravitational pull. So lots of intuitive shifts and restless energy when we are in a super moon. What else we have happening in the month of October is a blue moon. Believe in the impossible. So I took a lot of notes on this blue moon. So the blue moon 2020, the last one was 1944. It'll be another 18 or 19 years for the next one. And basically a blue moon means it's not literally blue, which is what I thought for as long as I could remember. As a kid, it said I thought the moon turned blue. And I'm kind of sad now that that's not the case. But it's 2 full moons in 1 month. So it only happens once every 2.5 years. So Halloween, when the veil is thin, we also have a full moon. So it's just a really amazing time. We're just not really going to see it again for a while. So take some pictures, amp up your full moon rituals. It's probably going to be bananas. So I also took a look at what was going on astrologically in relation to this blue moon and what else is happening. So full moon, for those of you that understand aspects, it means like the moon's on this side of the chart in one house, and directly diagonal from it in another house is the sun. And so the energies, instead of being side by side where they work together, they're facing, it's in a face off, and they're in opposition to one another. So this moon is also aspecting, is in conjunction with Uranus. So there's a really big shakeup happening in the cosmos in terms of energy. It's going to be at 8 degrees Taurus. I did not look up sidereal for this video, so I'm only doing tropical right now. Once I get really great at tropical, then I'll start layering in sidereal, since I do actually look at both charts for myself. but it's at 8 degrees Taurus. The sun is at 8 degrees in Scorpio. And so those two signs are oppose each other. So we have Scorpio, which is all about change, transformation, and then we have Taurus, which is about don't change and stay the same and stay grounded. So that's why those energies are opposite each other. Um, we also have Mercury in retrograde. Mercury's in retrograde, which is affecting our thoughts, communication, sometimes technology, and it's squaring Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter all at the same time. Um, and that's in and Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter are currently in Capricorn. So, for those of you that are either Sun, Moon, Rising, Cardinal signs, so Libra, Capricorn, Aries, Cancer, um, look in your birth chart if you have it to see if you have any personal planets close to those signs that are at 26 degrees, and just be mindful of, like, any aggressive feelings and communication. I can say personally, I've been feeling like somebody's been trying to trigger me and I just won't engage. I already know Mercury's in retrograde, Mars is in retrograde. I'm just not here for the drama. So I've just been avoiding it, and I've had a pretty decent Mercury retrograde, and it's going to be over in a couple weeks. Cool. Um, this Uranus conjunction is all about change. Uranus is change, shock and awe, opening our eyes. So it's hanging out in Taurus, and it don't like that. It don't like that. It don't want to be chill. It don't want to be Taurus energy. It wants to. So there's a conflicting energy that some people might feel. Um, this may either bring up some emotional awareness, or you might be turning your pain into power. I can say personally, especially for those of you that know me personally, I'm going through a whole tower moment currently. Things have shifted. I am getting ready to go for a divorce. We just moved, my children and I moved into a new place on the 3rd, and I've been going through moments of sadness, and it just it just hasn't been easy. But I feel like I've turned that into power. I've written some really beautiful poetry since things have started to happen, and even my home, it's different. Like, I'm in my own place now, so I can do a lot of things with my crystals I couldn't do before. So, like, all my doors have a black crystal over them, all of them. Every door coming into my home is protected with a black crystal, and even my sacred space, like the vibe in here is just amazing. So I also took a look because, it says, look at where your degrees are, like that 8 degrees, and what's close to that 8 degrees in the signs of Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. So for me, my eighth house in my natal chart is all the way live. I have my natal has Sun there, it has Mercury there, it has Mars there, and a couple of asteroids are hanging out in my eighth house. So my eighth house is definitely a point, and Saturn has just moved into my eighth house. Yeah, so I'm feeling a lot of transformation and rebirth and evaluating money and relationships, and yeah, all the things eighth house I'm feeling. My second house is also probably a little bit affected. It's not as close in the degrees, but it's pretty close. So I'm just being mindful of a lot of who I'm doing a lot of introspection in who I am, and how I be honest about who I am and not hiding myself and being more vulnerable. So it took a minute for me to decide, even talking just now, to say if I was going to go through a divorce. But I'm like, that's the truth. I'm getting ready to go through a divorce. I'm in a separation right now. Getting ready to go through a divorce. That's the truth. That's the honesty. So it's just an interesting time. There's going to be a lot of time of, breakthroughs, some new ways to make money. There's going to be some sex and survival themes. Yeah, because my Vesta is also in my eighth house. Yeah, my eternal flame is in the eighth house. So y'all should look up Vesta. You'll understand why I'm like, I gotta learn some new yoga techniques. That's all I'm gonna say. So right now, with the way the aspects and things like that, this is a great time to meditate, especially Halloween. This is going to be a really great time to meditate and connect with your divine guides because the veil is going to be thin. It's a great time to sit at your ancestor altar. For me, the sun is transiting my fifth house. So again, the I, as above, so below. It anyone that doesn't believe in astrology, I just feel like you just haven't dug in enough because the fact that the sun is transiting my fifth house, which is the house of passion, fun, love, and dating, just as I am moving into the single life is just really funny to me. The moon is transiting my 11th house, which is about groups and social relationships. And the irony is that I've had a bit more company than I've had in years. I've, had some friends that have just come up and really showed out to be here for me, and I greatly appreciated it. Um, I haven't looked at what these aspects mean, but some of them. Moon is sextile my Mars, so Mars is in retrograde. So I need to be mindful of how fiery and passionate I am because my emotions can be running high. My moon is trining Neptune, so I'm really sensitive right now. Moon is trining Neptune. My moon is opposite Pluto, and my moon is semi-sextile my midhaven. So I'm really emotionally sensitive both for myself and I can also feel everybody else. So again, this is a good time that I can possibly need to go into hermit mode. Even though my moon's in the 11th house, it might be a time for me to be virtually social as opposed to in person so that I'm not picking up people's folks. But this is why I keep this amethyst and citrine on me so it can filter out what's my emotions and what's not anybody else's, because being an empath, I am prone to feeling everybody else's stuff. um, Something that I didn't write notes on but I did want to touch on were your nodes, your lunar nodes, specifically your north and your south node. So your north node in your natal chart, and this card says step out of your comfort zone, which makes perfect sense. So I really love the way Tan Astrology explained your nodes like being a tree. So you have your south node is the roots of your tree. So this is where you're grounded. This is where how you grew up. This is what the energy that is most natural to you. If you believe in past life, this is who you were in the past. This is the energy you walked with in your past is your south node. And even the south node says, don't let your past, hold on, there we go. Don't let your past hold you back. So your south node of the moon, and it's just basically if you're looking at the moon and it's got an axis, this point, and that whatever the angle is of the natal chart, that's your south node. So for me, my south node is in Pisces. So at some point in my life, in the past or when my youth, I was definitely super duper emotional, um, really highly intuitive, maybe psychic a little bit, things like that. And my north node is in Virgo. And so the Virgo energy is about structure, being organized, and things like that, being practical. So for me, my north and south node are telling me to be spiritual, be intuitive, be all of these things, and find a way to apply them in a practical way. That's what I'm taking that as. So look at those things in your birth chart. They're really easy to get online. Cafe Astrology, astro.com. Those are some really great ways to do that. If y'all can hear my son, my bad, because I told him to take a nap and he's doing anything but. And I'm going to address that later. So hopefully you like this video. Hopefully you give it a thumbs up because you learned something from it. I'm really glad I was able to take this time to chat with you. And I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.